It's 10 o'clock, so let's get started. Let me just turn up my volume a little bit. There we go. That sounds better. If you have any trouble hearing me, just let me know in the comments. All right, thank you for joining me on this wonderful Friday morning, perhaps Friday afternoon for some of you. Today we're going to be talking about building automation systems and the products that ICP DAS USA can offer to fill in your building automation systems. All right, let's take a look at our agenda for today. We're going to be getting into a quick introduction to building automation, talk about some of the benefits that building automation and building automation systems provide. We're going to talk about ad hoc control systems with IR modules, that is infrared modules. We're going to be talking a little bit about all the miscellaneous appliances that you might have in your home, building, or office that use infrared remote controls and how you can integrate those into a building automation system. So that's going to be exciting. We're talking about our touchscreen controllers and how you can use them for building automation. Going to get into some lighting control options, and then we're going to talk about power consumption monitoring, which is probably the most important thing to look at when you're thinking about a building automation system. Then we're going to look at a liquid leak detection system before moving into our Q&A session and our raffle winners. And a note about the Q&A, I would ask that you please enter any questions that you have during the presentation into the Q&A box in your Zoom panel. Rather than the chat box. Actually, I think the chat box is disabled, so just enter any questions that you have into the Q&A box, and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation, and we can either read them from the box and answer them over the air, or if you prefer to speak on mic, we can let you talk at that time. So that's just a long way of saying, please hold your questions until the end. So if this is your first time joining us, a quick note about ICP DAS USA. ICP DAS was established in 1993. They're headquartered in Hsinchu, Taiwan. ICP DAS USA, which is us, was launched in 2001. We are located in Lomita, California. We have over 200 R&D engineers, and we work closely with them and with our clients to develop new products and new solutions to support our customers. Most of our products are RoHS compliant, meaning they are lead-free. We're also ISO 9001 certified here in the States, SGS certified in the UK, and we are a Microsoft embedded partner. But let's talk a little bit about, building automation. So what is building automation? A building automation system, or a BAS, is an energy management system primarily. It's an energy management system that oversees building functions. Also known as a building control system, a BAS controls heating, ventilation, lighting, and other energy management systems in a building. The idea is that you can increase efficiency by putting these systems together into one, not to mention that it makes your building easier to manage. The result is increased system efficiency, a reduction in operating costs, energy conservation, and extended system and appliance life cycles. Better control of heat, ventilation, and lighting systems also improves occupant comfort, just making your life a little bit easier. So like everything we do here, a BAS is designed to try and make your life a little bit easier, and not just you, but the lives of your customers, clients, occupants, and the team who work under you. And that's just the name of the game in automation. So let's talk a little bit about the scope of a building automation system. To get a little more technical, a BAS combines existing mechanical and electrical systems with microprocessors and computers. These are what we call automation controllers. Your controllers can include PLCs, PCs, touchscreens, and industrial computers we call PACs. A PAC is a programmable automation controller, and it's a sort of halfway between a logic controller and a PC. So a BAS can be a single system. You can control just one building or one floor of a building. And you can also scale these systems up to control a large office building or a campus of several buildings from one unified system. And with a server and internet connection, you don't necessarily have to be on site to monitor and control your building's systems. So what are the benefits of building automation, or how can you benefit from building automation? Well, believe it or not, you already have a building control system that you interact with every day at home and at work. It's just analog. You flip the lights on when you get in, you turn on the fan or the AC, and you shut it all down when you leave. But what if you could do all of that from one location? Or better yet, what if you could program a schedule that can do that for you every day? This is just one of the most visible benefits of a building automation system, that is convenience and peace of mind. You just set up a schedule, and then you don't have to worry about anyone leaving the lights on or leaving the heater running over a long weekend when everybody is out of the office. The main benefit, though, and that is the biggest benefit of building automation, is cost savings. It costs a lot of money to heat, cool, and light a building with everyone inside. BAS lets you get as close as possible to max efficiency, because not only can you set up schedules that prevent wasted energy, you can also incorporate motion and occupancy sensors to fine-tune that efficiency to the unpredictable day-to-day changes that go on in your building. And finally, a BAS lets you know exactly how much electricity your appliances are using and when, because you can integrate power meters that can watch your energy consumption 24/7. Sorry about that. Had to take a quick swig of coffee. How can I implement a building automation system? Or what to think about when you are implementing a building automation system. So first you need to know what you're looking for. Like I said earlier, you already have a building control system in your office, and we're looking to find ways to automate and optimize those systems. You need to know how to match the correct building control system to existing HVAC, heating and lighting equipment. Each building's unique electrical controls must be carefully considered, and you might be surprised at the kinds of equipment that you can automate. We at ICP DAS USA specialize at filling in the gaps in your BAS and accounting for the things you might not have considered. For example, let's say you're working with some old equipment, some low-tech stuff, or you're working on a very tight budget. It might surprise you to know that we offer IR controllers, that is infrared, for your miscellaneous office devices that would be otherwise impossible to connect to one of these modern control systems. So these are remote control IR modules that learn to send infrared signals in a way that's just as easy as programming a universal remote. And you can see in the diagram the kind of appliances you can control with one of these devices, which is pretty much anything that uses an IR remote. These are particularly useful for conference rooms and auditoriums where you may need to open and close curtains, start a projector, roll a screen up and down, activate your sound system. You get the idea. These IR modules come in two different communication methods, Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP, which means they will communicate either over a serial line, that is RS-232 or RS-485, or over an Ethernet network, usually Cat6 Ethernet cable. Being the most common network in our line of work, we have more options for Modbus RTU devices. So now I know I keep referring to these as IR controllers, but they're not actually the controllers. These are what send the IR commands. What you send the actual commands with on the other end of your serial or Ethernet line can be a touchpad, a PLC, a PC, or industrial PC. You program and control the IR modules with a piece of software we call IR utility. And in IR utility, you configure the different IR channels and associate IR commands with Modbus commands. So let's just take a look at some of the IR modules that we have available. On the screen, you can see examples of the two general types that we have. For example, the first example, the IR210 and the IR310RM. The first, is a 6-channel IR output module, meaning it can control 6 different devices and is capable of memorizing up to 224 commands. The latter is an IR input module with 10 relay channels that can switch up to 10 amp loads. The first receives commands from a Modbus controller and sends out those IR commands to AC units, projectors, etc. The second can receive instructions from the Modbus controller or from an infrared remote or from an IR output module like the IR210 over there. So I wanted to show you the IR modules in that first example because it's not something that I would think of, right off the bat anyway, when I hear the words building automation. It's important to consider all of the electrical appliances in your building, office, or even your home so that you know exactly where power is being wasted and exactly where improvements can be made. Even if those improvements are just little quality of life improvements. You don't want to spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes fiddling with the projector, the screen, the lights when you have important clients in the conference room. You want to be able to set the scene and have everything ready at the touch of a button. And how do you do that? Well, I'd like to direct you to an all-time top-selling family of products, the TPD 200 and TPD 400 series. These little guys are designed to fit flush inside of a standard outlet box. They're inexpensive, customizable, easy to use, and surprisingly powerful. You can use one of these as a thermostat, an HVAC controller. You can set your lighting scenes and schedule, and you can program functions using ladder logic or C. And these are just some quick application examples for the TPD 200 series. So on the left, we have a lighting control system. Looks like lighting control and air conditioning system. And on the right hand, we have another example of a lighting control system. So, speaking of lighting control, let's look at another building process that you can automate. I've talked a little bit about lighting, so let's look at one of our lighting control products. You can control a lot of light fixtures with a simple relay module, but if you're working with a bespoke lighting system, then you can make use of one of our DGW 521 gateways, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. This is a communication module that converts between RS-232, RS-422, 485, USB, and DALI. So DALI stands for Digital Addressable Lighting Interface. It's an internationally used lighting control standard, and what this little guy does is it lets a host PC, a PAC, or touchpad access lighting fixtures and dimmers on a DALI network. But one new line of products that I'm really excited about is our PIR series of passive infrared motion detectors. So these are used for indoor motion detection and have a 360-degree, 8-meter motion detection range. I'm very excited to show you these products because these are the kinds of products that can really start saving you money, possibly even more so than a simple lighting schedule because, of course, you can use these modules to judge room occupancy and switch lights on and off according to how many people are in the room. And one of the advantages that a building automation system has is that it allows you to start collecting occupancy and use data over time. So with motion detectors, you can send an hourly count to your SCADA or building management system that tells you which rooms are occupied by about how many people and at what times of day. Collecting this data is absolutely vital if you are serious about fine-tuning your light, heating, and cooling schedules. Tracking occupancy trends, along with power consumption, can give you a per-person wattage by the hour and by the part of the building so that you can see where and when energy is wasted. But let's talk a little bit more about electricity consumption. So this is the number one cost associated with building ownership and management. It is the number one place where money just flies out the window. The problem here is that most people don't know how much electricity they're actually using. The solution is to start monitoring your power usage. So the way we do this is by employing one of our smart power meters, you can see in the diagram. Now, I've done whole webinars previously on just our smart power meters, and if you're interested, I can send you a link to that presentation. I can send you some product info. So please don't hesitate. All of our contact info will be available at the end. But for now, we'll go over the basics. So you can see an example of our PM2 and 3000 series smart power meters. So these use a very easy-to-use clip-on CT, or current transformer. So you don't need to tap into the power cable or do anything like that. You just clip the CT around the power cable. And the power meter measures the electromagnetic field produced by alternating current. So onboard the power meter, it converts that EM reading into a usable format like RMS voltage, kilowatt hours, apparent power, and a couple more formats. So the PM2 and 3000 series are a perfect solution for measuring one circuit, but we do have a product that is purpose-built for large buildings and multi-occupancy housing units, and this is the PM4324 series. So since power in most buildings is routed through a central panel, measuring individual circuits is easy, and the 4324 series are designed to fit inside or alongside your electrical panel. And by using the included clip-on CTs, you can easily measure power from an entire electrical panel without disturbing the wiring. The 4324 series can measure power consumption for up to 24 single-phase channels or 8 three-phase channels. For large apartment complexes, office buildings, shopping malls, and factories, this can be your ideal solution. So along with our power meters themselves, we have complementary products that will get you measuring power consumption from your building in really no time at all. So these are the PMD and PMC series data concentrators. These are specifically designed to work with our smart power meters and are just shy of a plug-and-play solution. Very little setup and configuration and minimal programming is required to use these. So the PMD series, as you can see, is the one that includes a touchscreen interface. So these come in a 7 or 10-inch screen and are designed to monitor, log, and display data from our power meter, as well as providing logic control and alarm functions. The PMC series, you can see below, have the same specs, but without the screen. And those you can plug right into a serial or Ethernet network to interface with the larger building automation or SCADA system. But when we're talking about power monitoring solutions, and again, this is the most essential part of building automation, we have a brand new line of products that I am very excited to introduce, the IWSN series. So this is a family of low-power current sensing modules that communicate wirelessly at 433 megahertz. These are designed to be a low-cost, extremely small footprint power metering option for your home, office, or factory. Most exciting of all, these modules use the same clip-on CT that we talked about with the PM2 and 3000 series to self-charge their onboard lithium battery. So in addition to their current sensing function, you can add an optional thermistor to capture temperature data in the same place that you're measuring energy consumption. Temperature data can tell you why a machine or appliance is consuming excess energy, and it can let you know when you need to clean an AC filter and service machinery. So along with the IWSN sensor modules, we have the IWSN 2200 series data concentrator. This is a data logger designed to work with the IWSN sensor modules and can catch data from up to 31 of those sensor modules. It also acts as a communication gateway between an RS-485 network and the 433 megahertz wireless network. So here you can see a quick application example of the IWSN sensor module in an electrical room. So it's attached directly to the breaker and monitoring power consumption there. And again, it does charge itself inductively through the CT. There is also external power, DC power that you can provide if needed. But again, the key feature here is the inductive charging. So it takes the power measurement and it sends it to the IWSN 2200 data concentrator, which then communicates over RS-232, RS-485 using Modbus RTU to your PC, your SCADA system, building automation system. So, like I mentioned, electricity use is the number one problem that building owners and managers face when they're trying to minimize costs. But there are other dangers that you need to watch out for, namely fire, CO, there's carbon monoxide, CO2, formaldehyde, and particle pollution. If you are interested in a system that can measure these dangers, my 2 previous webinars were on these subjects. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message after the presentation, and I can send you links to these webinars, answer your questions, send product specs, whatever you need. But since I just spent 2 entire webinars on these topics, I figured it would be a little redundant to spend too much time on them today. But please do watch these webinars if you are at all interested. And that does remind me that all of our webinars are recorded, and you can find them on our website in our video library, along with our product videos, demos, and tutorials. And I don't expect anyone to be writing these down, but these are the URLs for the previous webinars on our YouTube channel, and you can also find them in our online video library. But there's one more thing that I want to talk about that's important to think of if you want to prevent damage to machinery, property, and to the building itself, and that is water leakage. So the ISN 100 series are a series of low-cost, intelligent liquid leak detection devices that can be used to directly control relay output. No additional conversion module is needed, and the ISN 101 can be easily integrated into Building Automation System, or SCADA. These modules use a double-core leader cable with lengths of up to 500 meters, or a leakage sensor probe to detect liquid leaks. If a liquid is detected, the controller immediately activates the output relay, the normally open, normally closed, passive output signal. You can use this to sound an alarm, start a light, tell a machine to start or stop. This series is your first line of defense against water damage and is a great solution for common areas in offices and multi-unit housing, or anywhere really that a leak would cause a lot of damage. The ISNs communicate over RS-485, so they will talk directly to a touchscreen or to a PAC. For a home automation solution, you could easily pair this with one of our ZT2550 or 2551 Zigbee bridges for a low power consumption wireless solution, or you could use another of our Zigbee converters to integrate this module into your existing home automation system. Now, I mention this because Zigbee is a wireless communication protocol that is used in a lot of home automation applications because it works over different wavelengths than Wi-Fi and is therefore less likely to suffer from wireless interference in the home. But that is the last system that I wanted to talk to you about today. We've talked a lot about the components, we've talked about a lot of components that can perform a lot of different building automation functions, and I've tried to give you something of an overview of what our products can do and how they can fit into your building automation system. I hope that this has expanded the scope of what you think of when you're talking about building automation and building control systems. At ICP DAS USA, we try to anticipate what our customers need so we can provide flexible and easy-to-use solutions for all sorts of problems. All of our products are designed to work well with third-party components, systems, and software, and we hope that you find something here that fills a niche that you have, or maybe scratches an itch that you didn't know you had. So just to sum up, because we've talked about a lot of different things, we talked about ad hoc control networks with consumer appliances using IR controllers and relay modules. We talked about lighting control and automation with our DALI gateway and the PIR passive infrared sensors. As well, we tried to touch on some of the big data applications, or the big data that you can gather when you integrate ground level components like the occupancy sensors with a building-wide SCADA system. And we talked about the single most important issue facing building owners and managers, which is how to monitor and limit electricity consumption. I introduced a couple different products that you can use to stay on top of your energy efficiency, and then we finished off with the liquid leak detection. So I hope this has been helpful and informative, and I hope you learned something about what ICP DAS USA can offer. But without any further ado, we're going to move into our Q&A session, and then we'll announce our raffle winner. So today, I have Robert from our engineering department who can answer any of your more technical questions. But we're going to open up the airwaves to you.